Doc, did I give you the wrong number? I'm the worst.
Of course you did.
Of course I did. I'm only trying to run the world here, Doc. I can't really babysit everybody. I mean, wouldn't you
you're
think?
doing a good job running the world.
Oh, Doc, I'm trying. How are you
I think
today?
Rich would disagree with that, but other than that, you're doing a good job running the world. I'm doing great. Listen, I'm talking to you after a win. We could have lost, and this conversation wouldn't have gone as well.
By the way, don't joke. I watched last night. I'm thinking to myself, don't be the bad juju. Don't do it, you know? Tell me, what is working there? I was saying to the guys, I was showing off that I was on the phone with you when we were talking about whether you're going to go there or not. What's working there in Philadelphia right now?
You know, we have a group of guys that are bought into a way of playing, and they needed that. They just needed that direction. They needed to, they're young. I think that's what I keep hearing, like Ben and Joel have not won. And when we had our first talk, I asked him, could they put "yet" at the end of that sentence, and it changes the way you think about it. When you just keep saying we haven't won, that makes it a very negative thing. And I said, the whole league hasn't won if you go through each guy. But when you have bigger dreams, yet is the most important part of that. And they haven't won yet. And you could see them trying to figure it out every night, and they're doing it.
But what is it? Because in the past, it was clear that they were a little bit like oil and water. So what is it that you did besides put the word "yet" into a sentence that made them play this way?
They had to understand that they do fit. When you hear every day that you don't fit, then you start looking for the reasons why you don't fit. And my job was to come in here and show them how well they fit together, how both of them are phenomenal defenders. And if we have one at the front of our defense and one at the back of our defense, we can become a great defensive team. How, they keep talking about room. And I said, you guys don't need room. I said, Ben, every time you drive, you want Joel to be on the other block. And he said, well, there's no room. I said, no, there's not. It's better room. No one's going to leave Joel. Who's going to leave Joel and Embiid to go block your shot? Who's going to help with Joel? I said, that's a dunk or an assist. I said, you actually create more room for each other, not less. And so that's, our first couple of weeks, that's all we did. We talked about it. We showed it on film. And the other thing, we gave the ball to Ben to be our point guard. And, he loves the role. And the last thing, I guess, the two things with Joel, go to the post, be a dominant big, and you can score everywhere else. We know that. But you don't have to show us that. Show us how great you are on the post. And with Ben having the ball in his hands and not worrying about shooting, just worry about creating threes. And Ben leads the league this year in creating threes. And no one's talking about him shooting them anymore. They're talking about how many he's creating.
But they are talking about they are talking about his defense, and he forces Luka Doncic to 7 turnovers last night. So
yeah, he is at his position. Kawhi, maybe 2 others, they're all in the same group. But Ben, it's rare that I don't think I've ever said this in this way, but Ben has the ability to literally swallow his offensive player. He's just so big, strong, and long, and so agile that he has an amazing ability defensively. And, that was the first thing I told him. Like, I get the offense, but you should be the best defensive player in the league. And he's taking heed to that, and he's doing it. So far, so good. We're going to have a lot of tests in front of us. But the team, we fit, and that's important.
How different is it for you with these two young guys comparatively with what you were working with last year in Los Angeles with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George?
Well, it's different in the fact that last year I really never worked with him. Unfortunately, PG missed the entire training camp. So did Kawhi for the most part. I think Kawhi played 1 preseason game. PG missed the first 14 games of the year, came back for 5, and then he got injured again. So I think one of our coaches told me we actually practiced with PG and Kawhi on the floor last year 4 times for the season. And so I really never got that. But they were veterans, so it is a difference. Like young guys, they're still at a point of trying to figure out how they can win and how they can be great. Where, PG and especially Kawhi, Kawhi's two-time, three-time champion, finals MVP a couple times. He was more just trying to figure out how he can win with this team. He didn't need to be taught how to do anything, really. So I would say that's the biggest difference.
Doc Rivers here on the Rich Eisen Show. Suzy Shuster in for Rich Eisen. When we spoke, I think it could have been the day that you took that job. You said you were the most intrigued and you had so many other offers out there. What was it about this job that made you say, I'm going to pick up and I'm going to move across the country and I'm going to set my roots down in Philadelphia?
It was the only job, as you knew. I mean, I had the other job offers, but as you knew, talking to you, I was going to take that job or I was going to do the Rich Eisen Show.
That's true.
Yeah, that's
with me
where I was at, And the only reason I took that job is, number one, those two guys, their youth, and knowing that they had such a high ceiling left. Tobias Harris, who I've known forever and coached. And then Elton Brand and the ownership group, but more Elton Brand because that's who I knew and had a relationship with. And the way they were going to structure it for me and allow me to do the things that I thought the organization needed to change the culture, and they gave me a green light on everything, was the reason.
One last question for Doc Rivers, who joins us here on the Rich Eisen Show. Doc, we are talking a lot about Kyrie Irving putting Kobe Bryant's name out there as the logo. What are your thoughts on possibly replacing Jerry West with Kobe Bryant?
I've been asked that, and I don't know the answer to that. I mean, Michael Jordan would be the logo. I mean, listen, if you want a logo, Michael's, to me, would be it. But I don't know if you change for change, You usually change things because of history and you find something out that doesn't fit. Jerry has been a deserving logo, and I have no problem with him continually being the logo. What are we going to do, change the logo every 10 years or 20 years? So I like our logo. I think we should actually stick with it. I'm probably in the minority in that thought. This has nothing to do with cancel culture, which is something I can't stand anyone saying because, it's funny when you think about that. We're trying to change our careers, right? Every company wants to change the culture of their companies, and yet when we try to change it in this country, it's a bad thing. So.
Well, you know how I feel about that, but that's a whole different conversation.
That's a whole different conversation. That's why I stopped.
As always, is a smart thing to do. Doc, thank you for taking the time as always, and thanks for coming by the show. And I'm sure you and I will be in touch soon, but good luck for the rest of the season.
And I'm the first guy to call you on the house phone. Thank you. You appreciate it.
That's exactly right, and let's keep it that way, please. Doc Rivers, taking time to drop by.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.